when you study, whether it is West or the East, you study so that you get something that you can use on yourself, and things like that. So I think this is very important to focus a little bit on that it doesn't become only intellectual, but something that becomes a part of a practice also. Because this is the same thing also in the East, in the West. And whatever I studied in my, the campus who taught me, always emphasized this practice, and used to bring whatever I studied, whether it's Tsema or Uma or Ngamba or whatever, they used to bring that to try to, a little bit connect with the practice somehow. And that part is, I think, very important, because if it is nothing, not connected with that, then I think it becomes too dry, and then people, I think, would not like to spend so much time studying something which doesn't really gives what they want, And when people come to study Dhamma, they come to study because they think it's something to transform them, yeah. So something that I can find from there that would be helpful for me, and then helpful for others. So if it is not there, then I think it would not work. So that part, I think, is important, to formulate that. Of course, every teaching is actually for that, no? So to have that connection and that kind of is, I think, extremely important, to bring that together. Other than that, then the way to study, my own experience, I mean, I didn't go through a very, systematic way, because most of the time I was alone studying, and then I just did whatever came, and things like that. The first thing I studied was Bodhicaya Avatara, and the second one was this Ngeshi Dweme, so it was like a kind of then went to this first I studied Shenju, then Ngeshi Dweme, then sheeting, but sheeting should be the first usually, and things like that. So it's a little bit like that, but Bodhicaya Avatara is, I think, very important thing, very good to study, I think, and should really go deep in this. The way these the 13 books by Khenpo Jenga is also very, very good. I mean, the way it's formulated, I think, is really good. But most of these texts become very complicated because of the debates with the Hindus, different Hindu philosophers, and there then we don't know much about their philosophies, So when we don't know much about their philosophies, then it is very difficult to debate with them, and then it becomes a little bit, I feel, one-sided thing, It doesn't really become a debate because you don't know what the other person is saying, and you kind of make them say what you want them to say, and then And I'm not sure how much this. I mean, of course, it is also to to increase our from different ways of looking, awareness from different ways of looking. But here, if there is a possibility to include the the contemporary views, and the contemporary philosophers, and then can debate on that line, I think that will be very useful and very, what can you say, more realistic and more engaging and very useful, I think. Very useful to study in that way. Of course, this is also true that the approach usually in the old texts is always like proving yourself right and the others wrong. In a way, that is also good because it's about getting confidence in our way of understanding, and that's important, I think. But also, I think it's good to study the other views and other, what can you say, the systems in a positive way also. I think it's important to study. I found it a little bit lacking in the usual way of Buddhist studies, to study the positive way of, so even sometimes we don't understand really the positive ways of teaching, like in the Hinayana way, so it's a little bit sometimes, so I think it is very important to study the positive things, the strength of all the schools, including the other schools, other religions and systems and things like that. I think that would be very useful, I think, in the long run, because I think now is the time to bring more unity among, like religions and all different kind of systems. And I feel that Buddhism is very good for that, because its philosophy is very, what can you say, broad-minded. You can have lots of, you can debate, and you can debate really very hard, but it's not that you even if you debate, you don't have to have a very bad view of that. This is a strength in Buddhism, I think. Somebody who can, who you can really debate with, but it can have some good things, and so it is useful. It is regarded as something very useful and very good for certain people, and for that, those who are following that. But at the same time, you can also debate and crush if you can. So these kind of two level, you can say, if you like, is not very easily found. So therefore, I think it becomes a good kind of binding force in the philosophy. So I think that would be also a good part of